All right, as part of the winterization that we're going to do, we're going to blow out all the lines. I'll show you how I do it. We'll pump some antifreeze in the lines, show you how we're going to do that. Try to take it step by step. A couple of notes I will point on what I do, and it's possibly up to you, is we go ahead and cut the heat back on into the camper to get everything warm back up. You know, we have our underbelly is heated through the vent ducts, so I like to heat all that up just to make sure we don't have any water that's maybe semi-frozen in the lines. I don't know. Plus it's a lot warmer to work in the camper when it's 65 and 70 degrees versus about 35, 36 degrees. So let me show you what we're doing and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so I'll show you how we operate everything. Normally, my system usually looks like this, with my quick connect on here. So when I've got my hoses, I just quick connect into that and turn my valve on and I'm good to go on my water. But what we're going to do is we're going to use this little $3 tool here with I think it's a 1/4 inch connect on this one, a 1/4 inch neck. So what I do is I will flip this upwards so I can get to everything pretty easy. I'm not causing a bind on this neck. We'll pop this little piece on here, blow it out. Alright, now what we want to do is make sure that the system is on the power fill tank on the city water tank side. So your white will face right, your blue will face left, black will face right, red will face up, and green will face to the right. Alright, so I wanted to make a correction on this. I said put it on the city inlet, the power fill tank, and you will do that when you want to drain the water. However, I didn't tell you, when you get ready to engage your air, you need to put this on Winterize so that it shuts off the water heater and only directs the air and fluids to the fixtures themselves. Alright, so the biggest thing you want to make sure is, like in the kitchens and all the faucets, I like to run and make sure all the water is out of both sides. So I'll open the hot and the cold side, set it about halfway. We'll leave this open and I'll show you why in just a minute. In the bathroom, we'll do the same. You can hear the water starting to backflow into the pipes. I have the low points open outside, and I'll show you what I did there to help myself out on that as well. But leave these open to kind of let all the water drain out of the lines. We want it completely out. Shower as well. I like to make sure I hold the wand down, open it up. We'll just leave that hanging just so if there is any water coming out, it's down in the bottom of it. Now the toilet, I just hold that down for about 30 or 40 seconds, and just to make sure that if there's any lines or any water in that as well, we back up as much water out of here as possible. One more thing a lot of people don't think about, especially if you have washer dryer connections. I like to make sure that there's no water in these as well, because I would hate for any water to be trapped in here and it wind up busting inside the camper, because this plastic that they use on here, it's not all the greatest. So we'll take our little caps off, open our valves up slow. We'll leave all those up, and we'll make sure that all the water is completely gone outside. And as you can see on the low points, everything's continuously dripping out. I want to try to leave these open for right now until all of the water that I feel comfortable with has stopped running out, and then I'll know that all the lines are pushed out of the water, and then we'll start pushing air through it. All right, so back inside, all the water is completely drained out. We're 100% drained out. There's no more dripping. So we'll go ahead and shut off everything. Close the faucet completely off. Close the bathroom sink off. Close the shower off. And on the toilet, I want to do it one more time, about 30-40 seconds, just to be on the safe side. We got it all out. All right, so we got just a little bit of seepage. I'm not real worried about that right there. We'll go ahead and close these low points off. I'll tell you what I did on these low points, because I got tired of getting soaking wet. I took the caps off, cut the PEX piping, put a shark bite fitting on here, and put us a PVC Schedule 40 valve on it. Make it easier on myself. All right, now we got everything back on winterization. Let's go ahead and charge everything up. So we want to try to keep everything around 40 psi. It's gonna get a little loud. All right, so to show you how you can make mistakes real quickly, I'm out there pressurizing the line, and I totally forgot to cut the lines off to the washer and dryer connection. One reason why is because I don't never use them, so what it's done is it's blown water everywhere. So make you a note, if you do this, make sure you cut this valve off. So we'll get this cleaned up, get everything dried up, and cut the valves off. Do smart thing, cut the valves off. I can't believe I did that. I was wondering why my air wasn't backing pressure up, and it wasn't. It was pushing all the pressure out here. All right, let's get all this dried up. Get all this wet wood dried up so it doesn't swell up on me. Whew. It's good I make the mistakes so you guys don't have to. All right, let that puppy dry. This one's wet too. Ooh, a lot of water, a lot of water. Boy, I shot a lot of water out of here. So that right there will tell you that these things still hold a lot of water, even though it's not back flowing through the system. So something to be mindful of. Let's get the floor dried up now. Just don't forget, guys, make sure whatever valves you turn open, you make a note to come back and do it because you can get easily distracted and forget what you're doing, just like I did. All right, so what we've got everything in winterized mode. We've got the airline hooked up, got it opened up. We've got pressure in the lines now. We are setting at just over 40 psi, maybe around 45 psi on the lines. All right, so we will leave the air hooked up to it, leave it on about 40-45 psi. I like to leave it on at least for about a good 5 minutes, and the reason why I do that is if there is any leaks in the water lines or the fixtures or anything like that that would cause any kind of water leaks, we're going to know it with the air. So if you've got it pressurized to about 40-45 psi and you leave it in those lines, you leave the compressor on, you monitor any air drop in it. If you have air drop in it, then you know you have a leak somewhere. You can spend that winter and early spring or whatever trying to sort through and figure out where your leak is, and the air helps out a lot. You don't get any damage with the air as you would water. Trying to trace down a water leak is very hard, but if you got compressed air in the line, it's a lot easier to track it down. Go ahead and make those repairs, pressurize it again, leave it on, make sure that you have no water leaks or no air leaks at all. That's a preventative maintenance on my end. After about 5 minutes, we'll go back out, we'll start blowing the lines out and go from there. All right, we're in good shape. We didn't have any leaks or anything like that. I actually waited 10 minutes instead of 5, just because I had to make a good cup of coffee. So we'll go ahead and blow these lines out, and then we'll go ahead and finish up getting everything, getting the antifreeze in them, and continue from there. All right, so what you want to do is we'll drop it on the cold side. Go ahead and get all the water out of the line. On the hot side. All right, so that's all the air out of that. Now we're trying to let the air compressor build up a little bit of pressure. Get the pressure back up because we leak it down pretty good, but we still maintain 40 psi in the system at all times. We'll open this up. Good there. We'll open this side up. Good there. Open these up. Nothing. Nothing. Toilet. A little bit of water in that. Set for a second, build up a little bit more pressure on that. Release it. So we got all the air out so far now. Almost forgot, we got one more to work on. Like I said, I don't never use the washer dryer connection, so it's hard for me to remember it. So, you know, my mistakes is y'all's less of a mistake. So what I do to keep from making a mess, which I've already done, is I've got a old dishwasher hose. It's got a connection that'll screw on here and a long enough hose where I can run it to a bucket if there's any water coming out, I don't have to worry about blowing water everywhere like I did earlier. Alright, so one thing I forgot to do and forgot to mention is the black flush tank. The way that they have these plumbed, the way they have mine plumbed, there's actually a trap where it holds water in the wall, I guess to keep for any sewer gases or anything like that from backing up into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and blow these lines out. You want to make sure you get the water out of here because you don't want this to freeze up inside the walls and bust inside your wall. That'll make a mess. So we'll blow this out, and then I'm going to take this off and cap it. So if there is any odors, it'll prevent it from coming back up into the cabin. I'm gonna leave it all. I've filled up my tank, so I'm gonna go ahead and let the air tank completely drain out through here, so I know all the water is completely out and dried up. It's pushing about 40 psi through the line, and I got a full tank, so I'm gonna let that run for a minute. We'll know that's aired out completely and be in good shape. All right, guys. So we're gonna use pool antifreeze. It's the same chemical as RV antifreeze. It's just a lot cheaper. I got these for almost half the price of what I did for an RV antifreeze. It's the same thing. It's non-toxic. So we're going to pump this into the system, have this thing winterized, good to go. Alright, so what you want to do first is go ahead and get all your caps off of everything. I'll go ahead and punch the tops on everything so I can get my hoses in there quickly. It's one person doing this. This is the easiest way I know to do it when it's you by yourself, because you got to be able to keep track of what's going on. You got to make sure you keep your hoses down into the fluid. Now this hose is an old El Cheapo, so it's cold. Should have took it inside and warmed it up, but I didn't. So what we're going to do is have to set this thing where it doesn't tilt over. Now we want to go ahead and open our lines up here, kick our pump on. You'll hear it starting to siphon. You should start seeing the fluid go down as soon as the pump gets it siphoned through. I think my hose is kinked up too tight. I'm going to redo this hose where it's a lot easier on me, because it is not working out. These old cheap hoses kink up and get frozen and you can't really do nothing with them. Hate these things, man. Open it up some. Alright, we're gonna cut that to there. Now let's see what we got. Right up. Give it just a second, let that pump pull it up. Getting it. Yep, there she goes. She's siphoning it down now. We'll go ahead and let that pump go ahead and pull all this antifreeze here into the lines. It should suck it down just about all of it. Yep, alright. It's got that down. Let's see what's happening here. Pull that one. Alright, pump just stopped. We know they're all in the line, everything's pressurized. Let's go inside and let's get a different jug right here. Change this thing out. So we got a fresh one. I'm making a mess. Wouldn't be me without a mess. Alright, so the trick here is you want to run the water, give it at least about 3 or 4 seconds of the antifreeze coming through your line. I'm going to hold it down so I don't want it splattering all over my sink and I have to clean it up. So we'll start out on the cold side. It's already pink. 1, 2, 3. Hot side. 1. Pink. 1, 2, 3. Everything is good and pink. Bathroom. Let's see. Let's stop her up. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Might go a little bit longer on that toilet. Doesn't hurt to get a little antifreeze down in there. Alright, so what I want to do is, I probably got an extra gallon. I'm going to hold on to that. So it only really took me 3 gallons to do this job. So we're going to take whatever's left and pour it down the drains, just so I've got some in the drain, in the gray and black tanks. I want to make sure that I've got some kind of antifreeze in these P-traps, so I don't have to worry about it. Fill that puppy up with that. Black tank's pretty big, so we'll fill that puppy up. That'll also check my seal. I'll flush it when I cut the pump off. Alright, so finish pouring this out in the drains. Want to get as much of them in there as possible because I want to get, I can't blow the P-traps out, so there's water's going to stay in the P-trap, but this way I'm able to get antifreeze to the P-traps where I don't have to worry about them freezing up. Alright guys, that'll wrap it up for today. That's how I winterize my camper. If you have any suggestions or anything easier to do than what I've done, leave them in the comments below. I'd like to know. This is the easiest way I know to winterize my stuff. if you've got different ways that you guys winterize your stuff, I'd love to read about it. Leave them in the comments below. Thanks guys, stay safe and happy camping, and we'll see you again.